trying to turn the audio down, but it's now louder, now it's softer. Ladies and gentlemen, it is January 14th, 2023. Alex McConnell is officially 22 years old. Alex, how does it feel to be out of your 21st year of legally being able to join alcohol?
Yeah, there was a lot of experimenting with the alcohol that just says 365 days, but I am now out of it and no more for the rest of my life.
That's good. You know, you are Irish. That was weird. Anyways.
I'm 22, so I got to move on to other things.
Yeah, 22 years old, completely great. Welcome to Game Bites, the weekly gaming news podcast. As I have heard, we're officially the world's greatest podcast. My poster, Brianna Liberto, no relation, just told me that that's what the data suggests. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it helps when other podcasts, stop being podcasts. It kind of open less competition. Are
you referring to the Beastcast?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they formerly were the greatest video game podcast in the world. They're the greatest podcast in the world, and then they retired. Yeah. I think Dan went off and joined the Navy. That's last I heard. How you doing, buddy? How's your week?
I'm doing good. My week was good. It was quick. I don't know why. I think the rain breaks up the monotony out here in California. So
you guys got a lot of rain, didn't you?
Lots.
Did you get
like a record setting for 20 days forever for California or something? I don't know.
Wasn't it like a superstorm or something like that?
Atmospheric river and bomb cyclones. That's what they call it.
That's the word.
Technically, Pineapple Express. I'm not joking. That's when the jet stream, these crazy winds from like Indonesia make their way all the way over here. It's called the Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
it's like 200 mile per hour winds up where the planes fly. So it's called Pineapple Express. But yeah, it just dropped a lot of water. Not a single rumble of thunder, not a single bolt of lightning though, so that's kind of strange to me. Just torrential downpour.
It is crazy. I mean, California typically dry, right? So a good thing for it to happen like this, minus damages.
I don't think there's enough rain capture going on because it was just so out of nowhere that this kind of weather came. I wish there was more efforts to try to get more of this captured. But yeah, a lot of plains flooded, a lot of beaches eroded, and a lot of landslides on the coast. But out here, I got nothing. It's just the road floods because the drainage isn't good enough, but that's it.
Well, next time it rains, go out there with your net so you can catch it. That's how it works.
I got a paddleboard. Yeah, I'll catch some rain.
Yeah. That's cool. So, I mean, you're married now twice. This is week 2 or 3 of that. Everything's still good? Yeah.
It's been a month as of tomorrow.
It's crazy. That went quick. I guess it's been
quick.
December
15th.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's good to have you here. As always, I'm grateful to have you here as my co-host of the world's greatest podcast. I see behind you, you look like you have some new, is that Lilo and Stitch? Or is that just...
Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah. Man, Joyce snuck that up here. Hey, he's not supposed to be here. We have a whole bunch of these in our kitchen. How do you actually see that?
I mean, I'm pretty familiar with my Naruto characters, so I noticed that one did not belong. So
I'm going to leave him there. Little hat.
That's good. You should get that one with a little bit of Saiyan armor. Put a little head on it. That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good. And nothing's really new here. Just working a lot. My cousin Alex is video calling me right now. Remember, he's the one you hit with the apple.
I remember this.
Yeah, we'll ignore him. Just busy working. You'll be mad at me. Naturally, you probably played a lot more Crisis Core in one day than I played in my entire life. And I things are hopefully slowing down soon, but no, everything's good. Brianna still loves me. And she's upstairs making chicken parm right now, which I'm very excited about. She killed the chicken herself, actually. It was a little...
Just go out there and wring its neck real quick and bring it inside.
Backyard's full of feathers. It's it's a mess, but the dogs love it.
Well, she probably shouldn't use a pillow to beat that thing to death. She should probably just use a knife.
Last time she used the hammer, and the problem there is if you miss, that chicken can get some good distance between you and the hammer. So the pillow at least had some more mass coverage, and I think that was the idea. Yeah,
it's messy.
Well, I think as always, as what we like to do here, we like to get in the news. Again, everyone watching on YouTube, thank you. As always, it's available on Apple and Spotify. And if you're feeling generous enough to support 2 people, you can always join the Patreon and or the Discord. That being said, let's jump into the weekly gaming news. Alex, there's not really a lot going on. I can't recall. Is January always like this in the gaming world? I feel like it is, right?
I think it's this in every world, in every industry. Everyone's just coming back from the holidays. I mean, even in my job, it's like the slowest time of the year.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. Yeah, even movies. It's so easy to break records when movies comes out in January because no one wants to release movies in January unless they absolutely have to. And then they wow, they made 14 million in one weekend. That's a new January record because no one else goes to the movies in January. Yeah, I would say it's pretty slow.
Yeah, makes sense. Just a sidebar. My industry is typically the exact opposite because we have to push things live when no one's working. Like brand new systems for the entire company to use. We need to do it when everyone's off. And
I see. Yeah.
So it's always this time of year that I'm working. But yeah, I mean, makes sense, right? I think news are starting to heat up. Eventually we're going to get busier and busier, and we'll get close to E3, and we'll probably hear about a new Nintendo and Dreamcast. I don't know. But overall, I think the biggest item that kind of came up this week is Ubisoft. Did you hear what happened there?
No.
So, Rayman's now the CEO. No, that'd be great though. Be real impressive. No, so Ubisoft announced, I think about 2 to 3 days ago, that they're canceling 3 unannounced games, which I don't know. Yeah, right. So right.
I was worried when I saw the headline. I was like, what just got destroyed? And then it's like, oh, things we don't even know about are now gone. What's the point of that announcement?
Which is the part I'm trying to wrestle with, why they led with that, unless there was some potential project that was leaked.
It's got to be something about shareholders.
Well, it 100% is. Ubisoft overall came out with this statement basically saying that they're surprised with how their properties have been performing over the last year, even to the point where, badly, and even to the point where Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope performed a lot, worse than they expected, which I've heard a lot of people talk about this. That first game came out whenever the Switch had very little games on it. And it was at the end, more so at the end of the PS4 and the Xbox One's life cycle. And Nintendo Switch was kind of the hot thing on the street. And so I feel like Mario Rabbids, Kingdom Battle didn't have a lot to compete with. This one, though, even though it's reviewing better and considered better than the first one, it does seem like it came out in a more crowded time frame and a more crowded period. PS5, Series X, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think it actually underperformed compared to the first one. So basically, the CEO came out in larger messages. They've been taking a lot of risks, more so than other companies do, right? I mean, EA is always Madden and something else. Ubisoft is, hey, we'll do Assassin's Creed, but we're also going to do a bunch of things you never heard of, plus Far Cry. And now they're kind of feeling the pain and pressure there, and they're similar to what you mentioned. Go ahead.
Who did that Greek?
That was Ubisoft.
Can't think of the game. The Greek Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
that seems like a gamble, but didn't that do well?
I mean, gamble in some sense, right? Phoenix Rising, yeah. They more than a lot of, like, because they're one of the biggest companies out there in this industry. They have over 14 development studios, from what I believe, across the world. And that's huge. And so for a company that large that isn't just relying on 2 to 3 franchises that it turns out every year or 2 years or 3 years, which it does have that to a degree, but at least tries to bring in new IPs in there as well, is unique. I think overall, they're kind of struggling to find out what people want, though. Obviously they're moving. Have you heard about this Assassin's Creed platform, where it's kind of going to be one gaming unit, and then you'll get a lot of different experiences in that. So
like Infinity or something.
Yeah, that's still in the works. There's still this has been leaked, but there's a standalone mobile game based in China that's coming out, which I don't care about automatically since it's a mobile game. But there's a spin-off of it apparently based in Japan, and there's also the game coming out soon that is kind of a return to the original formula as well, which they're hoping can reinvigorate some of the older AC fan base, which I know people like that, but I really loved Origins and Odyssey. So so bottom line is there's probably going to be layoffs, which I never want to see, and they're postponing Skull and Bones, which, you heard anything about this game?
Nope.
It's a online multiplayer pirate game, which this was this was announced before Sea of Thieves came out. Like, these two games almost were like a Bug's Life and Ants side by side at one point. And Skull and Bones just never came out, and Sea of Thieves underwhelmingly in terms of what it offered at first. But I mean, I think that game's great. If you've never played that game, we should try to get you to play it at one point. I don't think you can, but It's your fault. But yeah, so like that game's been postponed, and they're struggling financially at the moment. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? I just think you're gonna see a trimming of what they offer and probably rethinking of what they do. I mean, I liked Far Cry 5 and 4 I played. Couldn't stand 6. It's just like there's a fatigue. It's too much of the same thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you said they're gonna trim I don't know, quality or something, or I don't know what they're even doing or anything. But I was gonna say it feels like they've been doing that over the years anyways.
Yeah.
It seems like the games have been more narrative based, like even Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
Less narrative and more just like, okay, what can we do to just make them spend money on microtransactions and throw all these cosmetics in it, and just like as soon as you start the game, bombarded with ads on how to spend money on microtransactions and stuff. So it's kind of like, I don't know. You said they're pushing mobile games, and all I can think of is I remember the Beastcast dropping news about Tencent, a random Chinese company, buying like a large amount of shares of Ubisoft out of all things.
Yeah.
And they make most of their money. Like the highest grossing mobile games last year was like 6 billion, and Tencent's like the main distributor of that. The next one's like 1.2 billion. Like it's such a large difference.
It's Tencent is a company that has its tentacles in like everything. They have 40% stake in Epic, Activision. They have a large shareholder in Ubisoft, From Software, Platinum Games. I mean, they're everywhere. And I would say, yeah, Ubisoft is trying to. I mean, Ubisoft is very honest where they want to create a game that's like a platform, but the fact of the matter is I don't know what that is for them.
Because most of the stuff that all the money they've put toward these long single player games that everyone ends up finding pretty boring or bare bones or not a lot of heart to it, and then they're like, well, I just wouldn't be surprised honestly if you see a large of this go towards mobile gaming over the course of the next couple of years, because I think they just canceled 3 games. I wonder how much more they're going to cancel, just because they find the time and effort to develop these platform games isn't paying off as much as how easy it is to just have some artwork make money for people on mobile games.
And frankly, that's the low risk move right now. If we're struggling for equity, if we're struggling with a cash flow perspective, what are the guaranteed bets? And I know, slot machine for children, right? Let's monetize the heck out of a mobile game and get them. So again, I'm not sure what the direction is going to, be in the end. There's properties that Ubisoft has that are great. Like I love Rayman. Mario Rabbids is great. Like that is a game that is fantastic all around. There's the new Beyond Good and Evil they've been working on for a super long time that they showed a video for a few years ago. So there's things I want them to be able to do, and I never want to see people lose jobs. But at the end of the day, they're definitely in an identity crisis at the moment, at least for how they've been operating for the last like 6 or 7 years. And to your point about, mobile games and monetizing you, I liked Far Cry. Like I said, Far Cry 5 is probably the one I played the most, but it gets to a point where their games are just so big, and they really push this, right? They're like, we're going to make you play a game that's like 80 hours long. And for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I was like, I love this world. Like there was heart in it. There was heart in it. They had passion behind it. It was a beautiful experience. It was fun to travel in. I enjoyed, the mythologies around you, and I thought the game was good. But it was a super long game. And then they come out right after that with Valhalla, and not quite as inspired in my opinion. But at the end of the day, that formula is there because, again, we're going to try to monetize you. And the theory is if we can keep you in the game longer and longer and longer, we can milk you more, basically. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, that there's a fatigue happening with gamers all over. Like games should probably be smaller. Like I'm happy if a game's like 15 hours. I'm like, yeah, I can replay it maybe. Not every game has to be Breath of the Wild or yeah. Well, I mean,
because if I was a kid and I could get a game and I could play that single game all summer, that would have been clutch, But games were a lot shorter back then because of feasibility.
Well, I think you're right, but I think the other thing to think too is it's one thing if there's a Breath of the Wild and an Elden Ring that come out, but then if it's every month there's some majorly large open world game that's hitting the market, one of those games is just going to get ignored,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ubisoft disappointed in the new Rayman's Mario Rabbids sales, but again, everyone loves that game. It just kind of hit at a time where it didn't have the space for such an obscure game to really breathe. But ratings
Shine.
wise,
Yeah.
it's done better. Who knows? I again, I'm always hopeful, but at the end of the day, ultimately, I just want people to not have their lives completely upended and disrupted. That being said, speaking of disruption, Sony back in 2019 made the commitment to say, hey, we're not only going to make great gaming platforms, we're not only going to make cameras that make you cry, we're not only going to produce the Spider-Man movies by Sam Raimi and also give you emo Tobey Maguire walking down the street. We're going to make our own movie studio and we're going to start making movies. In fact, we're going to make movies about our games and TV shows. Obviously, what was it? Uncharted with Spider-Man was the first one. Which
Tom Holland.
actually good movie. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't because of the casting choice, but that's why I didn't give him my money yet. But maybe I'll catch it on streaming one day.
That's where we watched it streaming somewhere, and we were both surprisingly entertained. It was really well done. So
Okay.
I say all that to say, Last of Us TV show has just launched on HBO Max.
Yes.
And I haven't watched it yet. We do have HBO Max. I'm interested in this. It's not the type of game I would play. Did you play Last of Us?
No, that came out the same time as Far Cry 4, I think.
Which is one of the
first
best one
game,
in
like
the series.
way back when. It was either 3 or 4, and I was playing that. I got hooked on that more. I remember I didn't get far into The Last of Us. It was like the first time you have to walk past clickers, and I just wasn't like I didn't have the attention span to like know what I was doing, and I haven't played it since. But I know it's like everyone says play it. It's one of the best games and stuff. I just don't have the attention span or the patience for it anymore. Having said that, the show has debuted, and it's got great reviews. I think it's a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes, if that opinion matters to anyone. But that's good. It's a good start. I don't know if the first season is going to just blaze through the entire first game. Like, I don't know if that's given the game enough time.
Yeah.
But I've seen some incredibly, well thought headlines like The Last of Us video game works better as a video game, or The Last of Us works better as a video game. Really thought provoking stuff.
Yeah, I'm
for
surprised by that.
a journalist to say, like, no duh. But yeah, I would hope, if anything, they would flesh it out. Especially, I know HBO Max is just a distributor at this point, but like,
yeah,
what they've done with Game of Thrones, getting through the nitty gritty of every detail of the whole books, I would have hoped that if my first experience with The Last of Us was like a show that had that much heart and drew it out just as long, but gave the game, its due justice. So we'll see. But I'm going to wait for the full season to be released to see what everyone else thinks before I, again, sink my teeth into it.
Yeah, I probably will start it at some point when I have some time. The interesting thing, too, so Neil Druckerman is the famous producer behind Naughty Dog, who made Last of Us 1 and 2 and any of the other great Naughty Dog games that have come out. And I think Naughty Dog, out of Neil Druckerman's style, like The Last of Us, saying it works best as a game, in so many ways, is as TV show like a game can get, in my opinion. Those types of games, even in Santa Monica's God of War, too, like the direction that Sony will take it sometime, the narrative is so... what's the word? Non-linear, not in a bad way, but it's very much the exact opposite from how From Software will tell a game, right? Where it's at your own ability to explore the world and be immersed in the world and allow the world to tell the story for you. So I say all of that to say, the show looks interesting. I want to watch it. It has Dwight from The Office, so right away I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Rainn Wilson.
Yeah, it's got the Mandalorian. That's how I operate in terms of, that's got that guy from that Star Wars thing. Yeah, I'm in. That's my brain. So I want to see it. I think Brianna would be interested in it too. And to me, I always find it exciting to somehow get her interested in like my world, if you will. So there's potential. We'll watch it here soon. But I say all that too because Neil Druckerman was in a pretty big interview this past week or so where he was talking about, hey, what really, the type of projects I want to make in the future are projects that are, essentially, he didn't say this, but he basically described Elden Ring in terms of how a game tells a story in that way, which people laughed at because it's the exact opposite of how he makes games. And I agree with him. I think a game like Breath of the Wild or Elden Ring is what makes storytelling in games unique versus just reading a book or watching a movie, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he just was in this interview. He basically went on to say, like, I want to get into that more non-symmetrical, asymmetrical way of telling a story, allowing it to be more obtuse in a way where it isn't just ham-fisted into your face. And he kind of said, this is where I think games are going and starting to shine in the future. And all things I agree with. There's just a little bit of, I don't know if irony is the right word, or if I'm Alanis Morissette now for using it, but of him of all people for saying that, where it's, again, yeah. So they make good games. Last of Us as a game actually doesn't really interest me that much. Just like, it's just slow to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it's like watching a show, and I can't do it. Like every couple of minutes is a 5-minute cutscene or longer, and it's just the pacing's really slow, and you have to sneak. And I just can't play those games anymore. I don't have the patience. I just want to get right back into the action.
Yeah, which again, it's a game. This going to the point of like, if we're watching cutscenes all the time, is this a TV show or is this a game? And not that there's not a place for those, but
it's respectable art. But it's like,
yeah,
it's not what I'm interested in doing.
Yeah,
on my Saturday afternoon.
In my Saturday afternoon, where I play 100 hours of Marvel Snap. So that's the last of Us for this show. But I will move on to something else Sony related. I don't know if anyone cares about this, or if you notice anything about PS5 software updates, but 7.0 updates coming out in, I think, March, I want to say. And
Discord integration.
Yeah, so Xbox did this a few months ago, where essentially we're using Discord right now, right? And you would be able to turn on your PlayStation 5 basically and hit like switch call to PlayStation, and then you could be on your PS headset and talk on this Discord account there. Which, I mean, I feel like, did you know much about Discord before I told you about it and kept harassing you to get on, right?
Nope.
Yeah,
still don't know much about it. You literally tell me where to click when I get on here.
Yeah. I was taught by Discord by my team at Devour Games, and we switched all our business online to use a Discord server. It's where most PC gaming and gaming in general happens nowadays. There's huge communities, like all our favorite podcasts. Well, Beastcast, which is dead, but Bombcast, Jeff Gersman's podcast, they'll have Discord communities, and in those communities, they're places for people to hang out, talk about games, and have voice channels, meet up for game, and all that. And so PlayStation and Xbox doing this is kind of admitting, hey, Discord is something we want to tap into as like social gaming communities that we can also integrate our hardware platforms on. So that's cool. Again, I know one person that's tested it on Xbox and it works pretty decently, but it's, you know, to me, that's the most interesting thing about this update. The other thing I think is just weird, because I don't know why anyone would want to have this. And that's it. If you have a PlayStation 5 with this update, you can now stream PlayStation 5 games to your PlayStation 5. So that means, like, if you had a PS3 game on PS Plus and it was streaming only, so you have to stream it, now you could do that with PS5 games.
When they said that, I thought it meant like, when I'm just like sitting down to eat real quick and I'm like about to play my PS4.
Yeah.
I used to go to the streaming channels and just look up gameplay for a game I'm interested in, but I would just watch someone else go through it, and that completely is gone from the PS5. Like, I would watch other people's playthroughs of like a game that I'm playing even. I just put on someone playing Fighters for 15 minutes, you know? Yeah. And that's gone. And I was like the live from PlayStation, that's what it was called. So. Yeah. And when it said PS5 or streaming PS5 games, I'm like, cool, they're bringing that back. I can watch live streams.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
You're talking about stream playing a game.
Yep. Yeah. PS Plus versions of PlayStation 5 games on your PlayStation 5. Maybe there's a reason why they want to do it, but to me, I would rather chew glass than use a PlayStation 5 in a way that a PlayStation 5 shouldn't be used. Like, just download it, right? Yeah. So I don't know what the reason is for it, but I wouldn't lead with that. I'd lead that as like, oh yeah, patch notes part 6. Yeah. Also,
yeah,
you know, I mean, maybe, and hear me out, maybe it's because actually this could make sense. Hard space wise, right? The PlayStation 5s aren't that, you know, they have 1 gigabyte or 1 terabyte, right?
Yeah.
Digital's
1 terabyte.
Yeah, digital's the same, I think. And to add another hard drive, it's not as simple as the Series X, where you have that really fancy SSD card. You kind of actually have to open it up have to put
It's an
a
external hard drive. I
yeah,
think you.
you have to put a heat sink on it so it mitigates heat and all that stuff. So maybe they see this as a way to like avoid the download issue and storage issue if you want to try a game out, which that would be the incentive to me. Hey, we got this demo, stream it real quick, you know. But I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing to be excited about.
Yeah, that's what they kind of prioritized.
Yeah. Oh, so it's I don't know. I'm gonna.
Man, I really got misled by that headline. That said, I was really looking forward to just the live from PlayStation again.
I used to use that on my PlayStation 4 a lot, where it'd be like, oh, I have this like Nier Automata game that I'm following, and I could see people playing it. I'm like, I've never been there yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to express my concerns with that 7.0 update minus the Discord part. But speaking of expressing concerns, the long story that I am completely bored about is continuing, which is Xbox Activision.
Here we go.
Yeah, the lawsuit.
What's new?
I mean, there's really not that much new, right? So FTC has stated that the final hearing is going to be made by the end of August. So I think there's going to be a hearing in August. So this is going to drag on for the US. And by spring, there should be decisions by the EU and the UK's related courts. Now, the only thing that's truly new is Google and Nvidia have basically stepped up, and all we have is like, we're expressing our concerns about them acquiring this. Now, I don't.
Everyone's like, guys, no, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, like Google's got something to say. They know a lot about gaming. They know a lot about gaming. We should trust them. No, so I do think.
You guys like do your own platform and shut it down? Okay, yeah, shut up.
Go play with your phone.
Are you struggling with sales on your new computer chips? Like, just shut up. Shut up.
Guys, just go do squats. Go back to work. So the interesting thing to me is, I think the most relevant. I would say Google raising their voices means more to me than Sony complaining about Call of Duty. And here's why. Microsoft has made it clear from the beginning. We talked about monetization on mobile phones, and we talked about Tencent being big on that, right? Tencent is big on that because most people in the APAC region, Asia Pacific Islands, all that countries, they play on mobile phones. They don't have the money to buy an Xbox and a TV and all that. They'll play everything on mobile phones. So
more or less time too. A lot of them just aren't home because they're at work all the time. Mobile is always with you.
In the Philippines, where I was at their work, and people that I worked with would commute like 3 hours or more, and they would play on their phone the entire time, right? So that's the big thing. So Microsoft and all of the Western companies are trying to expand into that market. They're trying to adapt popular IPs into that market. And Microsoft has made it clear, hey, you can have Call of Duty, Sony. What we want is Candy Crush, because we want to make our own mobile phone app store to bring people into our space that way, and then push our IPs on them via that route, right? And this is aligning with the EU kind of simultaneously ruling against Apple to say you need to let side stores be loaded onto your phone, and this is going to impact everyone. So Google has a concern in the fact that, would you rather play a cloud version of a really good Xbox game on your mobile phone, or would you rather play some weird rip-off ROM of some popular game from the 80s on your Android that you got from the Play Market, right? Google wants people to buy those really bad games that are on the Play Store versus, having them people go somewhere else. So this is where Google's concern comes in. And to me, it shows, I think, probably Microsoft's actual intent. But at the same time, all of the courts are currently ruling against Google and saying you need more competition anyways in these mobile phone stores. So Google's got nothing to lose. But yeah, and Nvidia, I mean, I feel like they would probably be very warm on or lukewarm on their complaints, right? Because Nvidia might be putting the next graphics chip in the next Xbox, so they don't want to like lose any business, but they do have cloud stream gaming as well with the GeForce Now, which is it's Google's platform, but better. Like if I buy a game on Steam, I could download the GeForce Now app and go on my iPad or my Surface Book and stream any game I bought on Steam through this GeForce app. It's the same idea of the Google Cloud Gaming, but it's just better. You don't have to buy the game again. Ultimately,
then lose it.
You do pay a monthly fee because you're utilizing their hardware in the cloud, but it's still, to your point, like you don't lose it, your progress is saved, you come back to your desktop. It's very much like cloud gaming as a luxury and nice to have in certain scenarios versus Google's strategy of cloud gaming is the core strategy of the future. Like, no, get out of here. Yeah.
The future only lasted about 18 months. That's sad. The future's over.
Yeah, I got to return my Google glasses too. Those are
no.
Those are racking up dust. So that's the only news. I mean, I don't know about you, Alex. I'm completely not bored, but like I just don't care. I want people to make their decisions and then move on with this stuff. Where do you fall on it?
Well, technically, if the FCC saw something wrong with some sort of acquisition and they're bringing a hammer down, it's for a good reason. I'd rather that happen than go completely unchecked.
Sure.
And then all of us are playing Candy Crush and Clash of Kings on our PS5 in a couple of years because Sony went under and the PS5 is obsolete and we're playing it like offline mode Candy Crush.
Offline Candy Crush.
So I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah.
Candy Crush is like 95 on that list that I was telling you about. So a lot of middle-aged moms are probably raising fists on Facebook about this acquisition now that I think about it.
Fair point. I'm not upset that it's happening at all. Like I am fully aware.
Yeah, I wish they would stop just leaking just some little headline every week, but.
And honestly, it's probably the media trying to just generate some interest because it is such it's the largest acquisition ever. I think it's like $70 billion. So.
Yeah, so for some journalists, this is all they really want to report on because it's like it. But.
Yeah, but to your point, unhinged corporate power is a danger towards the common good, and if it's something that could be problematic, I'm for it. I just I don't know if the argument is going to pan. At least the argument Sony's making is what the court's going to be like. Yeah, that's the issue. So
they're poking a bear. I don't know how it's gonna. You're right. There is not like a strong counter argument to all this. This just seems like, what about this?
Yeah, and Microsoft is like, you're unconstitutional.
Can we play?
Yeah, Google's gonna come in. They just say, hey, you wanna come to our Google Park? We got statues.
Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
No one wants to.
What about Google Plus? Oh, burn. Speaking of poking bears, though, big news for you because Marvel Snap update PvP coming out the end of this month. How excited are you?
I feel like it's always been PvP. What is this update about? It's always been PvP. Maybe some bots sprinkled in, throw in like Shang-Chi on the first turn on an empty field. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I thought it was always PvP.
So no, there's a new PvP mode coming out where it's like a battle royale mode where you could just actually say I want to play against me, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
targeted.
Yeah, targeted matchmaking, basically.
Not random.
You can play your friends.
Okay, so probably like a ranking system. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't play PvP in anything, so that's why this one's kind of like anonymous. If I get snapped on turn 4 and I think I got it and I definitely don't, that person's never going to see me again.
Watch me like your mom's actually like, I got this.
Yeah. Like this idiot. I have 2 copies of Death because I played Moon Girl and this guy took my snap on turn. This guy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't know that was going to be like some race.
How many hours do you have in that?
I probably won't partake in that if the word biscuits is like rank 24,000 out of 24,003.
Okay.
I probably will not. My name will not show up on there.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there's other updates coming along with it, but I think the biggest thing people are excited for is the new like, hey, play against your friends. Most people I've heard talk about this are like,
friends.
Yeah, I'll try it
out.
What are those? But
now you're just throwing words I don't know.
Friends, yeah. They're also launching new cards: Luke Cage, Absorbing Man, She-Hulk, and
Luke Cage already exists. She-Hulk already exists.
Wait, Series 4 cards moving to Series 3.
Oh yeah, that's it. They're bumping down a series. Yeah. That's new.
Yeah. Series 5 cards moving down to Series 4. All of this would make sense if I probably played as much as you, but
so in this game, what that means, if anyone's like, oh my god, I gotta have She-Hulk, tough. It's completely RNG about you getting that card. Except for they did add a little bit of a marketplace for random pins or cards. But anyways, you have to the cards that you get randomly, it's sequential. So there's like pool 3 cards, and obviously you have to get all of those randomly. As soon as you get the last one, you start getting cards from pool 4. And that's what this is. They're just saying, okay, She-Hulk, compared to everything else right now, we're just going to bump her down to pool 3. So anyone who is in the pool 3 area, could technically have a She-Hulk now. But that's all that means. It just means these cards are going to be easier and sooner to get.
Gotcha.
But it's still completely random.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think I remember playing. How many hours do you have in that game now?
It doesn't track hours. But I'm like ranked like 1700 instead of 273 like I told you last time. And yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't track hours. Oh, wait. No, it doesn't track hours unless I tried to look at screen time for, like the past 2 months, 3 months.
You could probably see that in the app.
1689. That's my rank.
1689. Okay, you could look at screen time tracking app time. I'm sure. Let's see.
I don't want no app tracking me on my Apple device.
Hey, community here. If you feel like you want to know how many hours Alex has put into Marvel Snap, just comment below or say something in the chat. But let's move on. So we talked about Far Cry earlier in relation to Ubisoft and their struggles. Here's probably some of the most exciting news I've heard this week. So we talked about this in our most anticipated games of 2023. We briefly mentioned Redfall, which, as I thought it was, and I think a lot of people thought it was a Left 4 Dead type game coming out by Arcane Studios, which was based on vampires, right? So it's like, oh, this could be cool. I like Left 4 Dead. I think a lot of games have been trying to capture that. We talked about Vermintide in relation to that, Vermintide 1 and 2. And all of that. But Arcane Studios came out this past week and said, hey, this game's actually like more of a Far Cry 2 type of game versus mixed with like Dishonored, essentially. Which have you played Dishonored?
I played the first one.
Yeah.
Never played the second one.
Did you play Far Cry 2?
No, 3 was the first one I played.
Yeah. So this is more of a Far Cry game mixed. Like Arcane Studios is known for making great games with great like advanced system mechanics. What was the one game they just released that I don't think it was considered bad, but it was different than what people thought. So Arcane's made Deathloop. Yeah. So the 2017 Prey, Dishonored 1 and 2, they don't make games that people go, oh, that game was trash, the game was just broken. No, they're not known for that. So
it's crazy. Deathloop released with rave reviews, and I think it never dropped. I think it just. Okay, Redfall, I see what you're saying. Wolfenstein, Dishonored.
Yeah.
Yeah, these games are pretty unique, and they have their own corner, but you're right.
So, Dishonored 1 and 2 have never interested me, but I've heard good things about them from people that have played them within a similar place of like, I never thought I'd like it, but it's actually decent.
Did you ever watch like speedruns of Dishonored or Dishonored 2 on YouTube? It's some of like the most impressive gameplay I've ever seen. I used to just go on there and watch like no-hit speedruns or something for Dishonored, but like these people like mastered every mechanic and every possible combo you could do with like the different powers and stuff that you have in the game to just like pretty much zip through this game in like seconds. And it's super impressive and crazy, but it also makes like, wow, you have a lot of tools at your disposal in this game that I never exploited. Don't leave me. I never played Dishonored 2.
Okay. No, keep talking. Sorry. I thought the power went out.
Are you standing up this whole time?
Yeah, this is a standing desk right now. I'm standing. I was sitting. I was at Mass. I was sitting and kneeling a lot, so now I'm standing again.
Yeah, I'm standing too.
Yeah.
Go down some stairs.
That's why I was going to say I was going to do squats.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I thought, when you said that, I thought you were just going to stand up at some point. We're going to see some briefs. Go up and down.
I got pants on. Come on. This is this is the internet, folks.
Yeah,
let's be mature.
We all got pants.
So I've never watched it, but to your point, there's a sophisticated level of play you can bring to their games, right? And the moment they said that this is actually an open world game like Far Cry, I was like, oh, because the gameplay looks cool from what I've seen. There's 3 or 4 character types you can choose from. Looks like an interesting world. I feel like you're in Massachusetts or somewhere in the Northeast, and you're basically fighting a town that's overrun by vampires. So, I mean, this game's coming to Game Pass for free.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, Arcane's Bethesda, and Microsoft owns Bethesda now, right? So any Bethesda game is on Game Pass automatically.
That is so strange. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that to me, I'm excited. They unlike other Bethesda companies, they don't make many games with jank. Arcane, that is. This isn't like a Skyrim where 20 years later it's still got bugs, right? So
yeah.
Also on top of that, so they made this announcement, but the report is right now, and this is kind of a unconfirmed, non-substantiated rumor, that May 2nd is the release date. And the only reason why I'm willing to put any weight in it is when they had their big game announcement, I want to say it was over the summer or last spring, they showed all these games, including Starfield, and said they'd all be out before next year's E3, including Diablo, which Diablo is coming out at E3. So June 6th, I think. So this would make sense if this hits some point before Diablo 4, excuse me. So
has there been a trailer for this yet?
Yeah, there's been a couple trailers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just Google Redfall trailer.
I will do that, but yeah, I was just asking. But yeah, because I was going to say the thing on Wikipedia makes it look like some like computer game back in like the 1990s. It's such a really weird, I guess, poster for the game or something. But yeah, I didn't know if there was actual gameplay for it yet.
Yeah, it's got a 1980s kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. That actually interested me a little bit, the aesthetic of it. But yeah, the trailer looks good. Again, there's all kinds of different mechanics. It seems like it could be pretty fun. And again, for me, it's no cost. I'm already paying for Game Pass, so
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. Now, that's a lot of the news. There's a few things I wanted to talk about, but I know we were talking about this before the stream started. DBZ Kakarot, you beat that game, right? You beat the PS4 one. Did you platinum that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Within like 2 weeks, actually. I think when that came out in 2020, it was right in the middle of the pandemic. I think like May or June. Yeah, I got that platinum super fast and took it back to GameStop because there was nothing else for me to do in the game. And I was like, I'll just wait for all the DLCs to come out and then I'll just buy the game again, because it's going to be like the same price. But that game had some of the best cinematics. Like, I'm a huge DBZ fan, but like one of my favorite cutscenes in that actually every cutscene was like pretty good. But like my favorite was Vegeta fighting the Boo that absorbed Gohan. It's just one of the coolest cutscenes I've seen in a video game, but it's mainly because I'm a huge fan of the series.
You mean Naruto?
But, yeah, that too. But I did end up doing exactly what I said after the Trunks DLC came out, and that was the third, unless there was like some random fourth one in the middle there that wasn't a lot. But I did do all that thinking that was it. And then they announced Bardock.
Yeah.
And then they announced that they're going to do the 23rd World Tournament, the one where Goku fought Piccolo.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's next. So they haven't given up on it, But the new Bardock game was released. I think people are saying it's around like 5 to 6 hours to do the story mode, and then has one of the best They said it's one of the best cutscenes in the game. If you know the storyline in Dragon Ball with Bardock and Frieza, then you know exactly how that DLC is going to end. But there is some like post-game content for that as well.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're such a big Dragon Ball fan. Now, I know when that game came, but no one would understand why.
I don't
understand why. It's just a photo of yourself angry in the background. Yeah. No. So this game came out again that weird time where we were moving and all that, and I didn't put enough time into it. This past month, though, yeah, the Bardock expansion did just come out, and I saw similar things. People saying that they like it, but also that there's a lot of technical bugs with it, and there's some issues with it. But like, okay, it was one.
I can't imagine bugs in that game. It's so bare bones. Like, I couldn't even recommend you to play it because like there is a lot of just flying around.
Yeah,
but like you can do that. You can fly around to get all the story beats, and that's where it shines for me. But,
yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball too. Obviously, I have my.
Just fine. Oh yeah.
See this?
Those are the tag fighters.
For those listening on the audio,
like Goku and Vegeta and Broly.
Yeah, yeah. My friend from California got me them. But yeah, he. I'm not gonna.
I need to mail you this one actually because I said I wouldn't have duplicates of figures, and I got this Broly in the meantime. But since then, I've gotten this one. He's massive though. I don't know if you can see that.
No, I don't see anything. I just see a bunch of people saying
that big one right here.
Yeah.
Oh no, over here.
Gotcha.
So like, I need to give you that other one because I got that big one too.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll take it. Anyways, the Bardock expansion coming out and the PS5 free upgrade also just hit too. So if you have the game on PS4, you can upgrade for free to PS5, which I think is great. This is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, right? Been around since late 2019, fall 2019, I want to say, because they had it at E3 2019. I remember that was so cool. Out of all of the stage sets that were there, Link's Awakening remake for the Switch was freaking awesome. Like that was the coolest thing I saw there for sure. But then the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot stage at E3 was they actually had a huge Saiyan pod there too, which was cool. Yeah. So I sent you photos, right? I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the game keeps living on, which I think is cool. Now, the game did feel empty in a sense when it came down to the side stories and all that. But from what I know, there were some that were kind of unique and redeemable as well, based on various points of the game. Here's all what I want to say. It's $19 for the PS5 version of the game itself. It's not the PS4 with the upgrade, but you can now get it.
That game is massive for $20. $20. Yeah, I think anyone should pick it up. Yeah, that game is massive.
So yeah, I would check out GameStop right now or Amazon to see where it's at. But like I said, the PS5 version of this game right now is $20. It's really hard to pass off. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I will hopefully find some time at some point and play it. Maybe not though, but I'll ask you to play it for me. How's that? So
I would actually. I love that. I love that series.
Again, I did not know you were such a big fan of Dragon Ball. Last two items in the news that I want to talk about before we kind of transition to games we're playing and games we're looking forward to, games coming out. Games coming out for PS Plus and Xbox Game Pass this January. So I'll start with Game Pass. I think Game Pass has some pretty heavy hitters right now. So coming, I'm not sure if they're here yet. Let me confirm. So January 19th. You're going to be able to play Persona 3 and Persona 4 Golden on Game Pass. And January 20th, if you're on Xbox, you'll also be able to play Monster Hunter Rise. Now, that is coming to the PlayStation 5. We talked about getting that. But for us, we would have to pay for a digital version if we played it on the PS5. Not sure about cross-platform. And also this month, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, January 31st. And some games I can't pronounce, but I'll try. Inculinati and RoboQuest. Also at the end of the month. A handful of games leaving. Nothing really big besides Nobody Saves the World. I've heard a lot of good things about that game. It just came out this past year.
Where's Age of Empires dropping? Which system?
Game Pass, January 31st.
Ah,
but you can play it on the cloud too. So now for the PlayStation, and these games are going to come to the system January 17th. There's different tiers, right? So for the Plus, Extra, and Premium, I think the biggest tier, as of January 17th, you'll be able to download Back 4 Blood, which came out on Game Pass last year. Left 4 Dead competitor, kind of underwhelming, but well, yes.
It's just funny. PlayStation, like, here's it's just a funny argument. Here's Microsoft dropping all these bangers and a lot, and just like, you know, a bunch of games, and here's PlayStation, like, here's a game that they released last year. Here's some other games you probably don't care about. We are known as the Switch Pro of gaming.
there are some games, and friend of the community here, Eugen messaged me this list the other day, and so there is a game on here that's a Plus Premium Classic that I am interested in. But I mean, Dragon Ball Fighter Z's coming out too, PS4 edition.
Just Fighters.
Dragon Ball Fighters, PS4 edition, January 17th. If you don't have that game, get it. That game's great. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition PS5 version. Fantastic game. You haven't played that one, have you?
No, but if it's free, I should do it.
If it's on the Extra Plus Premium, I have
that. Well, it's not free, but it's just available.
You gotta, like, I don't know. You have to send in a card. You gotta wait 2 weeks. I don't know how I subscribe. I think someone from Sony came and slapped me in the face.
That was the last part. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was on TikTok. Life is Strange Before the Storm and Life is Strange. One's a sequel, one's not. I don't know anything about those games, but I know they're popular. Jet the Far Shore. Never heard about it, but that's coming as well. Just Cause 4 Reloaded, which is a remastered version of the last one. Do you ever play that game? Just Cause in general?
No, it's just another one of those ones that I've saw so many silly gameplay footage of it, especially on Reddit, of like people attaching like the bombs, like
balloons.
I think the bombs that attach two things together and doing some crazy stuff. It was like the most entertaining game that I saw secondhand, but I never played it.
That was a fun sandbox. I played the fourth one. That's the only one I ever played, and I just for hours I would like attach these balloons to things with bombs and then just see what would happen. It really was a well done sandbox, but man, was there nothing interesting about the story. It was worse than Crackdown 3.
A TV show in works.
Yeah,
about how good that story was.
No, nothing like that. And the last two games here for the Plus Extra Premium version of PS Plus. Omno, which sounds like someone's choking, and Erica, which don't know what that game is either. But here,
It's just a girl's name.
yeah, here's
Plug in my computer.
here's the games that are interesting me the most. PlayStation Plus Premium Classic. So you get a bunch of classic games. And since these are all PS1 games, my understanding is you will actually be able to download these and play them, not stream them. Siphon Filter 3,
Yep.
there are probably fans of that game. I am not one of them, but that is a classic. Star Wars Demolition. Yep. Have you played this game before?
Is that like a demo derby with X-Wings?
It's Twisted Metal, but with Star Wars vehicles.
Really?
You could be Boss Nass coming at freaking Sweet Tooth. Not Sweet Tooth, but you know what I mean. Like,
wait, this is actually like...
Oh, I had this back in the day. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's a Star Wars
I remember
vehicle.
Super Bombad Racing, but not Star Wars Demolition. I was... what?
I had
That's
this
so
on
cool.
I had this on the Dreamcast, I think. Yeah, it's a vehicle fighter. This game, I can't believe it's coming back. It's a classic. I don't remember if it's great or not, but just the idea of it in general was one of those games you wanted as a kid, especially when the prequel movies were coming out. So I'm excited about this game. And then lastly, one of the classics, one of the cream cheeses of PlayStation games, Hot Shots Golf 2, the sequel. So I love those games. I still play Everybody's Golf a lot.
I played the demo of that a bunch.
Yeah.
It's little Pizza Hut discs.
Yep. That's how I got onto them. So yeah, there's no games coming off along with it, but also for free right now as well. I think we mentioned this. If you want, you can get Jedi Fallen Order PS5, PS4 version, Fallout 76, and Axiom Verge 2 free until February 7th. And those are purchases, right? Those are full games. That's not just on their like monthly pass. So
no, it's the monthly thing. If you don't download it by the end of this month, then
it's gone.
You know, it goes away.
But you have to keep your PS Plus subscription to keep it, right? Or you can keep it forever.
I think so. Okay. I don't know how that works with PlayStation. Someone probably figured this out day one. But if you have a PlayStation subscription and then you stop for like 1 month and come back, I don't know if everything's still there. Because I think it's on your hardware. But like if you try to access it, it's like, no, you need to have Plus. But I think you have it downloaded, you know?
Yeah. I mean, check it out. Axiom Verge 2. That is Justin Happ the maker. I want to say HAPP. I want to say first one. It's something Happ. Thomas Happ. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Someone in the chat says you do retain it, so that's awesome. Yeah, good on PlayStation for doing that. Thank you, KMax. You are a doll, and I hope you got your amiibos. Alex, I know you got your amiibos, right? You ordered your Sephiroth.
Yeah, got them. Wait, yours has already arrived?
Yeah, my wife bought me these for Christmas and they came today or yesterday. So we got two new amiibos also this week. Kazuha from Tekken and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy Tactics, right?
Shut up. You know you're doing this to hurt me.
Pain. You are stabbing me. So I mean, I would say get them because amiibos are crazy. Where like 1 week they're out, and the next week they're like $70 to get them. So, also I don't know if I mentioned this, but because of the new Zelda game, I want to confirm this. There was a news article that a bunch of Zelda amiibos are actually going to get re-released, and I want to confirm, restock of pairs online. So it looks like there's various happenings on online stores at the moment where it looks like a bunch of the classic games from Breath of the Wild to Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time to Twilight Princess, even the 8-bit Zelda amiibos, it looks like they're trying to restock them and reproduce them to bring them back for the release of Tears of the Kingdom. So
damn, sucks for anyone who bought an amiibo for $120 because they thought that was the last chance they'd ever get.
Yeah, well, thankfully those ones weren't that expensive. But if they bring back a lot of the Breath of the Wild ones, I would try to get those. I
think I have them all.
Yeah, there's I have the champions. I have Link on a horse, but everything else I don't have, and I think I would go for him. Yeah, Sephiroth, the Kingdom Hearts character. Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, he's a Disney character. He was a Goof Troop guy, right? Yeah, he was with Goofy and Max, and they were singing that song on the stage with the Cheese Whiz dude. Yeah, you're having a heart attack.
He was the Platinum Cup in Olympus in the first Kingdom Hearts. He was a special boss in Kingdom Hearts 2. That amiibo is actually based off of his Super Smash Brothers appearance, but he is a villain in Actually, he's a character in Crisis Core primarily. In Final Fantasy VII, he's something else entirely.
In Final Fantasy VII, he's your cook, right? He's like, yeah.
He's not Sid.
He's Sid. He's Sid. I finally found Sid in Final Fantasy 14, and it was actually pretty cool. He's in
really?
the online game.
Yeah, he's
cool.
in all of them.
Yeah, it was cool how you got him. But yeah, so that's it for the news this week. I do want to transition, obviously, talk about what we're playing, but also, you know, January's been a slow month, but there are 3 games coming out. One being a game that's already been out, but it's finally coming out to more players that I'm excited about. Now, the first one here is what the title of this stream's all about: Dead Space. I was being clever. I mixed Fire Emblem Engage with Dead Space. So it's Dead Space Engage, but when I say it in my head, I think of Talladega Nights. And they're like, Ricky Bobby, we got that move together. Slingshot, Engage. And it's
yeah.
Yeah.
So was the shake and bake too.
Shake and bake, yeah. Shake and yeah.
Engage.
I'm gonna drinking Mountain Dew all day. Yeah, that movie. I think I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna torture myself and try this game.
Dead Space?
Yeah, there's a new trailer that came out. I haven't watched it yet, but I was listening to it, and from what I understand, this isn't just a straight 1-for-1 remake where everything is just beautiful, right? This is they're enhancing the game. They're bringing quality of life, which makes sense, but they're even putting a lot of like zero gravity missions that were in the second game, and they're introducing those into the first game as well. And
makes sense for space.
Yeah, right. So I'm highly interested in this one. And a lot of people seem to be pretty hyped about it too after seeing a lot of the latest content compared to what was the Callisto Protocol. And again, from what I hear, people like that game, but there is just an expectation that people had that, you know, wasn't really quite there. So yeah, I know you're not a scary boy gamer, right?
Game fan, yeah.
No. So yeah, we'll have to see what we do here. Now, again, that comes out January 27th. I'm curious, anyone in the community, anyone in the chat, anyone commenting below, are you going to get this game? Are you interested? Did you play the first one? But it does seem like it's going to make a lot of fans happy, but you know, obviously we'll see. So yeah, I'm probably going to pre-order that after this ends on Amazon. I'm going to go give Jeff Bezos money and then be like, peace.
Here's money, game, please.
The next game, Fire Emblem Engaged. Now, I showed you. Here's three houses. I was going to say 3 horses, but those are out back.
There's more than 3 horses in that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of horses in that game. You like 3 houses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you put a lot of hours into it.
The gameplay and the tactics. I did not like the go back home and talk to everyone and try to have dinner with everyone thing. Like, that's just, I'm good.
Yeah. That to me was the weakest point of this game. And I think a lot of people...
And that's actually one of the things that a lot of people wanted a lot in this game. In that game. Like, that's what they wanted.
They were
just, I'm good.
They were persona'd. That's the persona. Yeah. Well, JRPGs always love the schoolhouse setting. Yeah. So... going into that route, I think in some sense was a smart move by Nintendo. But if it's hey, let's like, I never played Fire Emblem before, but I really love 3 houses. Now I'm going to try Engage. If that's the way Nintendo leverages that momentum, I'm all for it. But if they really start to be more of that, you know, 3 houses all the time type of formula, then I'll probably, you know, be out, I would say. That being said, I don't think it is. I think the game, again, there's been so many previews. People were saying that it's better than 3 houses in almost every way, including not being focused on the schoolhouse setting, that type of, hey, did you have tea with this character at this time of day after this mission, after you got this score?
Are you missing trophies because you didn't optimize your time with every 30, 60 characters and unlock the secret other character?
Yeah. Like,
I just wanted to fight.
Yeah, I want to go kill a horse. I mean, I want to go kill a guy riding a horse. Sorry. Yeah, so again, it seems like the next one's going to be more streamlined. I'm going to give 3 houses more of a try too. Again, there were a handful of games at this period where I couldn't put the time in. I think the only game I ended up playing was Borderlands with you. That was like around that time period. But
2020 into 2021,
Yeah. Now, Fire Emblem comes out this week as well. I think it comes out the 20th. So it comes out a little bit ahead of Dead Space. So I don't know. I know we've been talking about doing a game together, and I think the next game is the one we're going to do together. Let me confirm the date. Fire Emblem Engage at January 20th. So the last one, Monster Hunter Rise.
Mm-hmm.
When are we streaming this?
If it goes on PlayStation, I'll play it.
Yeah, it's going to be on PlayStation like the same day as Fire Emblem Engage, actually, I think.
That's so soon.
Let me confirm that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I might not be in town President's Day weekend, which I think is the 20th, if that's what you're talking about.
That
sounds like a weird day to drop a game.
Friday, the 20th? A weekend where people might have off?
I'm thinking February. That's President's Day. Never mind. January's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, next Friday the 20th, maybe next weekend at some point, we can get together for a little, not that Saturday. Saturday would be hard for me.
Anything.
Yeah, but we'll talk more about it. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, we talked about this. I'm excited about this game to give it a try on the higher res platform.
And you name your dog.
I think so. Yeah, actually. Pretty sure you can.
I have dibs on the name Plutarch. I dropped it. Hey, it's the January 14th, 4 p.m. I called dibs.
Well, it's 7:01 p.m. and now I'm going to contest everything you're saying. You must be drunk, sir. He's not drunk. He's in a different time zone. No.
Yeah, it's 2022 now. Or I'm 22 now.
You could have Plutarch. I'll take Effie. Oh, okay. What are you playing? You still doing Crisis Core? You still doing Marvel Midnight? You doing all of it?
Midnight Suns. I got right past I'm close to the end of the game. I think the last 2 missions, and I was doing like one side farm mission, and a new character that you unlocked right before that got his butt kicked, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go try Crisis Core as well. Breezed through that. I'm in chapter 10, like the last save point before everything ends, and I'm trying to get 100% on the missions. I'm at 94%.
That's
300 missions.
That's where there's a lot of missions, but I love how I think at like hour 2 or 3 of that game, I started doing the missions, and I love how you can, basically so many are unlocked and you can do them and do them and do them. Yeah. And I went through each one
until you literally can't anymore. Some of them unlock as long as you complete the one before that, and that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. So as long as you have the gear for it, you can keep going.
Yeah, and there was somewhere I reached where I'm like, oh, I'm just getting whooped. I cannot do this one yet. But I loved how you could go in, you can get all the treasure chests for each one. It will tell you. There's a easy checklist one that it hooked me as well. It's been probably about 3 weeks since I played that game though, and there's nothing else on console taking me away from that. I just haven't had time to play my console games of late. But I think so. I have a friend. Obviously, besides you, I have friends. I have friends, people. Okay, just calm down. My buddy Nick, who's a developer at Devour Games, so he's our lead developer for Loveland and Depiction, all that good stuff. He played Crisis Core through holiday, through Christmas, and all that, and he loved it. He says it was his favorite game this past year. Now he played it on the Steam Deck, since he had it on Steam, so he played it portably. But I'm wondering if maybe we can get the 3 of us together to do like a spoiler cast about the story, because I feel like the story is probably one of the critical things to that game, especially considering the 7 remake just came out not too long ago, and the second part of the remake's coming out. And out of all of the Final Fantasy games I've played, which isn't many, but I really do love the world of 7 quite a bit. It's very focused on it's very heavy on commentary about the Industrial Revolution, which I'm like all for it, and all about ping pong too. It's very subtle, but if under every story beat, something to say about the greatest sport ever, table tennis.
Things going back and forth. Yeah.
What do you think? So I put that out there. I know it's hard for us to get time as it is, but something I would love to do is a spoiler cast on that and Pokemon still. So. Maybe a treat for our Patreon subscribers and or anyone who can beat Alex and Marvel Snap.
That's a lot of people in a given day, so.
I mean, there's not many Patreon subscribers at all, so it's all the Marvel Snap people.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all you've been playing?
Yeah, those ones, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of my time, because those missions have ate up like the past week. I think I got to chapter 10 by hour 13.
Okay.
And I'm at hour 25 now.
Wow.
And I've just been doing these missions. And it's a lot of trying to farm the right gear to make these missions go faster, but now I'm like almost done.
Okay.
But it's kind of like those missions really, you could tell it used to be a PlayStation or PSP game, because it's kind of like you get in, you can play like 2 or 3 missions in like a couple of minutes and then just stop.
Yep.
And it's just so detached from the story. And that's what I've been doing this week. I'm like, all right, I'm doing enough of these. I did like 10. I am bored. We'll turn the game off and just play more tomorrow and just do some more missions,
Yeah.
And every time I come back, I'm not bored with it anymore. I'm just like, I can just do another 10 of these.
Yeah.
But there are 300, so
It's a lot. You said the thing I was thinking when I was playing that game and specifically getting into those parts of the game, the missions. I was like, oh, this is a PSP game. You could 100% see this being a early 2000s portable game with how it's even how the main story's structured and the chapters and how the levels flow. Like they could have enhanced that greatly, but they chose to leave it as it is, which I think is good, for what it is. But it's worth
I think
it.
the story's pretty tight in that game. Like there is most of this game is all, hey, what they said in dialogue in the original 7. This is, what happened in Nibelheim and Midgar and what caused everything,
Yeah.
So it's a movie. It's a bunch of cinematics with a game wrapped around it. A lot of the heart of the story and why Sephiroth is who he is. So yeah, it's a good game though.
Without spoiling
and it looks
anything.
beautiful, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know what assets they imported from the remake, but the game looks amazing for how small it is.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I will say I think it's not quite as polished as like PS5 Integrated Edition from what I've seen, but those cutscenes. I don't want to spoil anything, but the one cutscene where the 3 people were training and they start sword fighting, and there's things
that's on the canon.
Yes,
I think in Junon. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that cinematic. Some of them you can tell. Some cinematics are PS5 quality. Some of them look like they were imported directly. Like they look early 2000s graphics.
Yep. Yeah.
But it's more of a testament to this is how good cutscenes looked back then.
Yeah. At least squares.
Now you're right.
Yeah.
Some of those look like they're 1-to-1 imported, and they look like less fidelity than me on this screen right now, which I was surprised by, but it was also kind of like, hey, that's like the original video. But yeah, that's an absolute insane fight between Genesis, Angeal, and Sephiroth. Yeah. But it's a training mission.
Yeah, they're friends, guys. They get along.
Yeah, they're buddies. They're just having a little duke out in the training room.
They eat salted ice cream like in Kingdom Hearts 365 days or whatever that.
Salt licks.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's I mean, again, I'm still playing that slowly but surely. I have still mostly been playing Splatoon 3 when I've had time. It's like every night or so I'll play like anywhere between 2 matches to like 8 matches. And depending on the night, I go in and I get whooped or I win some. But I love the progression system in that game. I still love that game. Like there's just something about that. Like I love Doom Eternal. I love Doom. I love shooters. I love all that. But there's something that makes me happy that potentially the most popular combat multiplayer game is a game where you have to paint the floor to win and not just kill someone else. Like that whole premise of the game, I think, is like, my kids one day would play this game and I wouldn't have any issues with them playing a game where they're painting, the floor to win, right? Like there's something very Nintendo at the core of it, right? So I still play that at night, like I said, 2 to 3 matches, if not more. And then my in-laws for Christmas, they got me Dragon Quest Treasures. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dragon Quest 11. Echo, there was...
Yeah, I played that one.
Did you like that one?
I hate the battle music.
Oh,
Every time it switches to battle, I had to mute that eventually because it sounds like, I think the score or soundtrack for Get Smart. And I hated that little, oh man, it used to drive me crazy. Whereas Final Fantasy, I like the battle music every single time, or Pokemon, it never gets old. But for Dragon Quest, that little jingle that starts, it goes like, it sounds like a spy movie score. I think Get Smart, and I had to mute it eventually. It drove me insane.
That's funny.
It's such a weird gripe. But...
Put you on edge. No, so this follows the 2 siblings from 11, the one that looks just like Goku and the blue-haired siblings in 11, essentially. This is when they're children, and it's not an RPG. It's a treasure hunting action game where you go around this.
Well, Toriyama did the artwork.
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew something was up when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't know what the heck this Dragon Quest is, but that's Goku. That is Saiyan armor on that orc, okay? Yeah. That is Saiyan armor. What the heck happened here? Is this just all the media over there? But yeah, Toriyama's still the artist, and it's pretty cool so far. I've only put an hour or 2 in it, and the story is very simple. Hey, it sets it up where it very much is about collecting treasure and building your base, which I think is cool because it gets to a point where as you fight and kill certain monsters, you can then recruit them and you can pick up to 3 monsters on your team, and each monster has an ability that impacts how you can travel the world. So if you have a certain monster, maybe you can get up this mountain before, or all that kind of stuff. And they help you in combat as well, and you level them up too. So it's a weird mix of like kind of like Pokemon, but also like if Ash was punching the other Pokemon too while you were playing the game, and very very open world though too. So it's fun. I like it. I'm gonna go back to it, but again, with the time I have, if it's late at night and I'm laying in bed, it's Splatoon still for me, really. So Dragon Quest Treasures though. I know people are wondering about that game. It's pretty cool. I do want to try out Builders. I don't know if you heard about Builders.
No, I have. I think they're available now on PlayStation. I think Builders 1 and 2, I think it is.
I think you're right.
People like these games.
Yeah, well, I mean, people love Minecraft, and a lot of people who even like Minecraft have said this is better because there's actually like a purpose, but it still allows you to do everything you wanted to do in Minecraft. So, yeah. But that's it. That's all I have. I know we went over. We talked about doing a 40-minute episode, but here I am, freaking hour.
We're still 20 minutes shorter than normal, I think.
That's true. Speaking of being shorter than normal, you're taller than me right now. There we go. All is right in the world. All is right in the world. Alex, thank you for joining me. Do you have any parting words for our kind and beautiful guests?
No.
All right.
Well, I was trying to think, is there anything to do with candy? But no, everyone just stay warm or stay cool and stay full.
Stay warm, stay cool, and stay full. That is the saying of the show now, everyone. All right. God bless everyone. Have a good night. I'm going to let Alex go, and then I'm going to go eat some chicken parm. Adios.